All right, so you know that the PNL is starting to do well when we got A-list celebrities coming.
Where? Who's here? Who's here, man?
Come on, man.
What am I talking to you for if there's A-list celebrity? Who's here? Is Travolta here? Is Travolta?
Yeah. No, Travolta didn't make it out this time.
Then I'm
the
leaving.
jet was parked too far away. Listen, Coach, I really do appreciate you coming out to this event. Number one, as we were walking over here, you mentioned that it's a whole lot more fun to be a fan.
Oh, God,
What do you mean by that?
I just, I think I was probably pretty OCD when I was competing.
Yeah.
And I don't think I knew it until, I was an adult. So even when I look back, I'm like in high school, I remember being like, I would beat a guy like 15-0 in the finals of a tournament. But before I had myself convinced that I was going to get beat, or, I was in my head. I don't think I knew the tools to sort of get out of my head a little bit. And then in college, it's just brutal, man. I mean, D1 wrestling, I remember I completely dominated that guy, and I feel like a truck just hit me, There's no escape. There's no escape from pain or whatever.
Yeah.
So I try to remind myself of the sort of the physical nature of the sport, because you'll catch yourself every now and then watching this, be like, well, what he should do, and then my rule is like, all right, go. There's a elliptical somewhere around here. Go as hard as you can for 45 seconds. Take a break. Go and then go as hard as you can for 45 seconds, and then see how you feel. And I've done that, and I feel like I want to die, and that's nothing compared to a wrestling match.
That's right.
Yeah.
And until we can. So what's interesting to me is there are so many, Monday morning quarterbacks.
Yeah.
In this sport. A lot of them are dads that maybe didn't wrestle at a high level.
Yeah.
And if they did, they forget. How do you remind yourself, like, oh, hey, I can't say much about this?
No, I mean, I can barely get through a workout sometimes, and this is not a wrestling workout, and so I remember, you know what, I wrestled. When I was in my late 30s, I was coaching some high school, and still in between doing gigs or whatever. And I was in fairly good shape to go with the best high school kids.
Right.
And I could go. Maybe not these level of high school kids, but
local level
kids that were state champion, whatever. I could go with them. I was in good enough shape, and I wrestled in college. And then I don't know, a few years later, maybe 5 or 6 years later, I hadn't done it much, and I was in Columbus, Ohio. And my buddy runs the club there. He's kind of a wrestling guy, and he's like, hey, my son's at a camp. Would you go over there and show some stuff at the camp? So I go show stuff at the camp, and it was one of the Ohio State guys was there.
Oh, no.
Josh, he was good. Josh, I'll remember. He was a good wrestler. He's middleweight, 57 pounds or something. And afterwards, I was like, I'll go takedowns with him. And I thought I was going to have a heart attack, man. I mean, Here's nobody believes me, but I had a cold. I wrestled so hard I got a cold. I don't know if I got a cold almost instantly, and for the rest of the week I was like, I don't know if you get a cold from exertion, but I did. I did. Okay. So that was the last time I tried to go with a college kid, which these guys, especially right now, these guys are basically college kids here. Yeah, it's fun to watch. I mean, I can spot. I've been out of it for a long time, but I can spot. Oh, this isn't your average high school wrestler. Just some of the stuff they're doing.
It's really interesting to me, and what they're doing at the PNL is so cool to me. Just to watch the different styles kind of meld. So you grew up in Missouri, is that correct?
Yeah.
So you grew up in Missouri. Midwestern wrestling is different than West Coast wrestling, and it's certainly different than East Coast wrestling.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about a style that kind of gave you trouble when you were competing.
I think some of the guys that were just a little bit more athletic than me, I look back, when I was at the top of my game, I'm trying to think, it's been a while, Mike,
sure.
but
I understand.
Just as a side, I've been focusing on the consolations, because it's where I spent a lot of time in college. Like I don't need to be watching this front side. Really. Yeah. They're like John Messenrig, one of the coaches at AWA, is like, the semifinals are on. I'm like,
I'm more of a console guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go really here, because in college I spent a lot of time on the backside. But
All balls were on mat number 2. On mat number 2 only. You were told that there was a break on your mat.
No,
that is not correct.
That's why you get paid.
yeah.
Right now.
We're doing important stuff. This is. I think I was a junior in college, and I wrestled Townsend Saunders. You know what that is? Yeah, it was an NCAA. Yeah, Olympic silver medalist. We was seeded 1. We was as far as we were with him. You know, like it was a good match. It was I think second round, and I was giving him a go, and it got down to like kind of third period, and we just sort of like duck under. I hurt my eyes, and he was behind me, and which was like
They have different views.
yeah, just another level of athleticism, and also we had some bad habits. I think now that I look at it,
I could have done better.
I think I lost. It's really fun for me. I'm a big fan of Ben's. I know Ben because he's a Missouri guy, but just to listen to him. We sort of lost some of that intellectual curiosity, I think, that I had as a high school kid. I was like, what can I learn? What can I learn? I was always up at the junior college. What can I learn? What can I learn? And then in college, I think I loved wrestling, but I think I had other interests, and I was committed, but I wasn't the best learner. Part of it was my fault, because I just maybe thought that I just don't care enough, or I don't.
Yeah.
And I thought what I have is what I need. And also, the style of wrestling back then was we did so much wrestling. We beat each other in the face. We hit some dropping and stuff. You're about to go for the worst thing ever, so
Yeah, that's interesting.
What was that?
Yeah, because it creates a stopgap for the learning. You're preoccupied with man, I better get my mind right, otherwise I could get hurt out here.
Yeah, or just like it was stupid. It was like I want to conserve energy. You know, like who's going to go for a war? Part of it was me. Like I think let's just wrestle. We know enough. Let's just wrestle, and it's going to be about who's the toughest, and I didn't probably try enough in practice, and I was probably too obsessed with winning in practice all the time.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it makes it counterproductive to progress.
We didn't have a diversity of workout partners either. My senior year, basically, my junior coach, Ross Roper, was our head coach. And he was the best guy. He was 10 years older than me at the time, but he was the best guy around my weight class, so I went with him. Yeah. And he was tough, and I probably didn't take as many chances with him as I should have.
Yeah, because you're trying to beat your coach.
I'm trying to beat him. I'm trying to just not get embarrassed that day. Yeah. I'm not trying not to gasp. But,
okay, all right. So when you look at the level of wrestling at PNL, and just around the country in general, what's the difference from when you were competing?
Turn the camera and look on the sidelines of the coaches. Just look at his coaching, and that's a big part of it.
That is a big part.
Yeah, I think, and my dad was my high school coach, and he was, I think he wrestled in junior college a little bit, and he was.
He didn't have any Olympic gold medals like the guy.
He was a great coach, for the fundamentals, and there was the junior college like a mile from my house that I went and would get.
And they had a wrestling program.
They had a wrestling program, and they were really cool. So I got a little bit, but these guys, they're getting. I think some of the real stuff that they're getting, we didn't ever talk about that.
It just didn't occur.
I mean, you know, they would ask you, your coach would be like, all right, man, you're going to beat this guy? And it'd be like, yeah, you know, yeah. And I was too afraid to admit, I was thinking, look at the ass, look at the knees on this field, you look good. Like, I think, but I think, you think if you could have had those type of conversations a little bit more what's making you think that? Okay, I'd be like, well, look at that guy, man. He's all jacked up, and then you know, it's funny in wrestling. Sometimes you get the guy that's real cut up, and you grab him, and he's hollow. Like beach muscles. Yeah, there's like, yeah. Is that what he's beach muscles? Yeah. Like, well, I can move this guy around.
They're adorable.
Yeah. And you hit the guy that's just like kind of wiry, or just you're like, oh. There's guys that are. There's guys on ESPN too that are dragging anchors and stuff like that. They're not. No, they're a little fat, and they're. Yeah.
Do this with you all day. Put some content. Thank you so much.
You bet, buddy. Yeah, great seeing you.